This week on Second Take, we zone in on Tanzania and Cameroon. In Tanzania, protests are currently ongoing. And why? Because opposition parties were banned in an election that felt more like a coronation. So, duh. In Cameroon, there's a man who is 92 years old who has been given an 8th term. That is correct. His 9th term might even be with Jesus. This is Second Take, where, leaders age like fine wine or bad leftovers. Either way, we bring you the truth. Let's get into the show. All right, we start with Tanzania. We've spoken a lot about the country. Let's get into one strong narration. Tanzania is burning. Samia Suluhu Hassan is sitting in her office like she's still in charge. Soft voice, hard threats, telling cops to restore peace, throttling the internet, banning opposition, and turning arrests into polite euphemisms like security measures, while youth run the streets like they are running a masterclass in chaos and mockery. Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Songwe, Zanzibar. The government calls it calm, but streets call it war. Tires are on fire like pyrotechnics, barricades pop up faster than ballots, posters shredded, molasses traps set, WhatsApp buzzing like mission control, and police squads look lost. Stuck on sugar sacks, goats wandering past like VIPs, curfews ignored like bad jokes. Chadema and ACT Wazalendo erased from ballots. Tundu Lissu made an example for talking too loud. State TV narrating chaos like a bedtime story. Bullets, tear gas, molasses doing the real talking. Diamond Platinums tried loyalty, posted pro-Hassan content, saw the streets laughing at him, and ran to Mombasa. Vendors sell Magufuli back soon shirts. Not nostalgia, but as sarcasm armor. Dar es Salaam schools the youth in barricade building, molasses traps, tire choreography, and meme warfare. Graduation optional, survival mandatory. Arusha is an obstacle course. Tourists dodging flaming tires, police trucks painted pink with property of democracy, curfew signs swapped for mirrors so cops can watch themselves. Failed. Kids waving Hakuna Amani Bila Uhuru banners while parents rig molasses traps behind them, guerrilla style. Songwe spills into Kenya, barricades like spaghetti, goats stealing the spotlight. WhatsApp running plays better than Omni orders. Zanzibar mirrors the chaos. Motorbikes weaving through tire fires. Notices telling citizens to stay home used as props. Youth laughing at authority. As they should. The election? Joke. Opposition? Gone. Bullets talking, students hiding, civil servants hiding, everyone else improvising barricades, routes, memes, and laughs. Samia's rule is polite but deadly. Arrests, security measures, disappearances, incidents under review, opposition politely reminded where they stand, bureaucracy ticking while streets run riot. Youth activism is comedy school. Barricades, desks, tire fires, lectures, molasses exams, memes, homework, curfew, or pop quiz they face daily. Economy joins the joke. Schools closed, shops locked, tourism stalled, humor mandatory again. International reactions? Weak. Embassies urge calm. UN condemns incidents. Media hedges. Streets meme, barricade, joke like bosses. Calm, weaponized. Samia's inclusive governance drags everyone into repression. West applauds her chill. Streets laugh at it. Every barricade, tire, viral meme, critique authority cannot erase. Buttons useless. Digital dissent thriving. WhatsApp, Zello, TikTok running rebellion. Cops scrabbling. Night is government streets' imaginations, markets, intersections, neighborhoods, labs of improvisation, barricades teach lessons, fires punctuate absurdity, chants mock authority, democracy official, legitimacy not so much. Samia modernized suppression. No shouting generals, no dramatic purges, just soft words, hard consequences. Investors sleep, citizens are alert. Feminism in this context is she rules forever, crushes opposition, manages optics. Every crackdown a misstep, every death an incident under review. Media flips praise and critique. Youth see through all this choreography. They want real institutions. Every curfew, arrest, Crackdown deepens skepticism. Authority counts numbers. Youth count laughs. Defiance, creativity. Dar es Salaam will quiet someday. Tear gas settles. Cops sip tea. State media announces normalcy restored. Citizens return cautiously, barricading, posting, joking. Somewhere, someone raises a glass to democracy. May it one day actually win an election. The poem of Tanzania continues. Streets vote daily with fire, barricades, memes, improvisation, laughs, raw ingenuity. Curfew, a suggestion. Barricades, classrooms, memes are law. Authority counts numbers, citizens count resistance, humor, and courage. Samia's repression is the textbook. Youth street wit, the syllabus. Tanzania 2025, soft-spoken oppression, hard-edged improvisation, protests still raging, satire sharper than policy, barricades teaching lessons, fire marking absurdity, humor the only surviving opposition, streets running the show while authority counts nothing but numbers, and every flaming tire, molasses trap, and viral meme proves no soft voice policy or polite governance can actually outwit the streets. And the band will play on, quietly, curfew permitting. That's the story of Tanzania. I tried to make sure that I put it in a compact poem so that you could understand that everything is happening one after the other. There is rhythm, there is rhyme, but no one is singing Samia Suluhu Hassan's song anymore. Shortly, we move to Cameroon.
Life is unpredictable and one needs to be protected against any eventuality. Get Santam legal access from as little as 50 Namibian dollars a month for when you find yourself in need of legal representation due to civil cases, criminal prosecution, and family matters such as divorce, child maintenance, and custody. It also covers labor disputes, disciplinary hearings, and unfair dismissal or retrenchment. With Santam Legal Access, you'll receive free legal advice on almost every legal aspect, whether the specific matter is covered by your policy or not. For true peace of mind and legal protection when you need it most, call us on 061 292 8000. Santam. This is freedom.
All right, that's enough of poetry. There comes a time in every nation's story when the calendar itself seems to give up. Cameroon reached that point on October 12, 2025, the day Paul Biya, 92 years young, 43 years strong, extended his rule into an 8th term, and the country collectively realized that it was no longer counting elections, but anniversaries of endurance. The ballot boxes weren't instruments of democracy. They were birthday candles for a regime that refused to blow out. In Douala, the air was a perfume of burning tires and tear gas. In Yaoundé, barricades hummed like angry prayers. In Garoua, where Issa Shiroma Bakari's supporters had once dreamed of change, the dream was shot dead at breakfast, literally. A father of 5 buying bread became a statistic in a country where bread and bullets are prized, equally in despair. Paul Biya's re-election was declared by Elecam, the electoral body that has spent decades learning how to clap without emotion. They announced 53.66% for the president, 35.19% for his rival, and 0% shame. The Constitutional Council, whose main function is to legalize deja vu apparently, certified the result and rejected all 10 opposition petitions as baseless, because in Cameroon, even the law must behave itself. The protests began like whispers and ended like war drums. By October 27, Douala had become an open wound. 10 dead, 100 arrested, countless promises of calm floating over the smell of gunpowder. The Interior Minister Paul Atanganji declared the demonstrations illegal, as if illegality were something that could embarrass the regime. He promised legal action against Shiroma for insurrection, forgetting that rebellion is the only language left to those forbidden to vote in their own future. But then again, what future? Cameroon has been in a time loop since 1982. When beer took power, Michael Jackson still had a nose. Bob Marley's ashes were still warm and half the current electorate's parents were still in primary school. These are facts. In 1990, when I was born, when a multi-party democracy was introduced, it was like giving citizens a choice between identical prison cells. Opposition parties were legalized and immediately domesticated. Bia's government didn't ban his rivals, it neutered them. He turned politics into a zoo. The lions were caged, the sheep were free, and the zookeeper, well, he gets to live forever. In 2008, the Constitution was rewritten, not to reflect the will of the people, but to extend the will of the president. Term limits were abolished. The country sighed. The world shrugged and Beer smiled. The ink hadn't dried before his next term began. The Constitution itself now a willing accomplice in Beer's longevity. And by 2025, the protests weren't just about votes. They were about youth suffocating under an empire of geriatrics. Cameroon's median age is 19. Its leader is 92. The gap between ruler and ruled could fill a museum. The youth see Beer as both a myth and a mirror, a ghost haunting their possibilities. They have grown up under one man, one signature, one national broadcaster tone. They've never known a world where news isn't about what Beer said, signed, or silently ignored. Economic stagnation has become a national anthem. Corruption is the country's second language. The Anglophone crisis, that bitter conflict that has burned since 2016, has killed over 6,000 and displaced thousands more. In those regions, elections are less a civic duty than an act of survival. Soldiers guard polling stations the way prison guards watch their own shadows. The ballot is a rumor whispered between checkpoints, and yet somehow Beer won with up to 86% of the vote. Miracles happen every election season in Cameroon. Only the dead fail to vote. Issa Shiroma Bakari, the former ally turned rebel candidate, had claimed early victory based on his party's tallies, 54.8% to Beer's 31.3%. Elakam's figures flipped those numbers faster than a magician hides a coin. When Shiroma called it a masquerade, he was only half right. Masquerades at least have rhythm. This election was more of a dirge. When France spoke condemning violent repression, it sounded like a guilty parent scolding a child it had spoiled for too long. The UN expressed concern, which is diplomatic code for helplessness. The African Union and European Union called for calm, as if calm were a vending machine one could summon between bullets. Meanwhile, in Douala, the city of commerce turned into a cemetery of patience. Roadblocks sprouted overnight. Smoke curled above shuttered shops. Mothers ran with children wrapped in wet cloths to protect them from tear gas. The slogan, "Stand up for Cameroon," took on a literal meaning as people tried to rise from the dust, choking and furious, while soldiers in imported armor fired into crowds. By October 30, at least 23 were dead. The state called it law enforcement. The people called it Tuesday. In Garoua, where Shiroma's supporters dared to hope, 4 more were killed. Yaoundé trembled under the weight of its own denial. Across social media, young Cameroonians declared themselves done with fear. Their rebellion live-streamed pixel by pixel to a continent that has seen this movie too many times. Some called it Cameroon's Kenya moment, comparing it to the Gen Z protests shaking Nairobi. But the difference is stark. Kenya's ruler still remembers being young. Beer remembers colonization. Inside a Tudi palace, they say Beer watched it all from behind closed curtains, perhaps from Geneva via Zoom, his favorite governing method. The man who once promised renewal now represents a nation trapped in old age. His government blames everything on foreign interference, as though Cameroonian anger were imported like champagne, and no one loves France more than Paul Biya. But something has shifted. The chants are sharper now, the youth angrier, the fear thinner. They are no longer asking for freedom. They are demanding an end to embalmed leadership. The security forces, loyal to paychecks, not patriotism, are cracking. Small defections whispered through the barracks. Analysts call it the fragile final phase. Fragile for who though? The state or the myth? Even within BIA CPDM, murmurs of exhaustion hum under the surface. 43 years of loyalty is a long apprenticeship in silence. Some party officials whisper that BIA's legacy could end in chaos, others that it already has. Yet no one dares to speak above a whisper, not while the old man still breathes. On the streets, protesters of BIA hang beside graffiti that reads, "The future has expired." Young artists remix his old speeches into beats. Satirists call him president for life and afterlife. The absurdity writes its own punchlines now. Cameroon stands on the edge of something it can't name. Part insurrection, part awakening. The protests have no single leader, no clear ideology, just a generation unwilling to inherit the same silence their parents did. They chant Shiroma's name less as loyalty, more as defiance. In truth, the real opposition isn't a person, it's time. Because time, unlike Paul Biya, cannot be re-elected. So, the international community will soon call for dialogue. The government will promise reforms, some will be arrested, some will vanish. The fires in Douala will fade into memory until the next spark. But beneath the ash, the question will linger like smoke. How long can one man outlive a country? The irony of Paul Biya's immortality is that it makes Cameroon mortal. Each new term drains a little more life from the republic, like a vampire feeding on applause. The president may have outlasted his rivals, his critics, even his own generation, but he can't outlast history. Eventually, even ghosts need permission to rest. And when that day comes, when the streets no longer whisper, "Biya must go," because Biya is gone, perhaps Cameroon will remember what it means to breathe without permission. Until then, the anthem remains the same. Long live the man, short live the nation. You are still with Second Take. As you know, I am also in the streets, the TikTok streets, and these are the TikToks of the week.
I'm famous for being home to the big five animals. Yeah! The first documented chimpanzee war happened in my country. Yeah! The first African woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize comes from this country. You are correct! I have the second largest freshwater lake in the world. Well, we dominate long distance running around the world. It was obvious, isn't it? It was obvious. I'm the largest rose producer in Africa. For the first time, yes! I'm the largest country in East Africa. High five. You're correct! I am also known as Africa in miniature. Yeah! My name translates to river of shrimps. Correct, yeah! I'm the world's leading producer of cocoa beans and a major producer of coffee. Yes! I'm the first African country to make it to the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup. Well done. I have 2 capital cities. Yes! I have one of the largest churches in the world. Yes! Come on! My capital city is Yaoundé. Man. Yeah. The highest point of my country is also the highest point of the Guinea region. My name translates to Lion Mountain. Roar. Wrong. Yeah! I was established in 1822. Correct! The capital city, Freetown, was established in 1787. Yeah! My capital city, Monrovia, is named after the 5th US President, James Monroe. Well done, you changed your mind and you're correct! Yeah! My national animal is the chimpanzee. Correct! Yeah!
Do you know what's going on in my country, Cameroon, right now? Our President Paul Biya, after 43 long years, has been elected again. How? I'm not sure. But I'm going to tell you guys. We've been under a tyrannical government and they have been killing us and silencing us by shutting down internet so that we cannot come and share the news with you guys and spread the awareness. And as a matter of fact, the internet was shut down yesterday again, so don't be surprised if you're not saying anything about it. But some of us are out of the country and we have internet they cannot control, like me, and we're gonna tell you guys what's going on. This is the same way you guys did not know that hundreds of thousands of us were killed back in 2016. How can we support? How can you support being outside of the world, wherever you are? Post about it. We are packing our sacks and motors and we are finding a better life. They are killing us, but it's not going to stop us from fighting back. That's how strong we are. So hashtag Free Cameroon, hashtag Le Continent. Let us pack our sacks and motors and find a better life for ourselves.
And what have we learned? In Tanzania, protesting is less a right than a cardio workout. In Cameroon, voting is less a choice than a long-running soap opera where the villain refuses to die. Samia Suluhu Hassan watches the city smolder, issuing directives as if calm were contagious and citizens were, I don't know, just traditional dishes sitting and waiting. Tear gas becomes civics, curfews become morality lessons, and offices burn like unwanted email attachments. A perfect metaphor for a leadership under fire. Biya, on the other hand, sits in a palace built out of patience, avoidance, and sheer survival instinct. Shiroma Bakari flares in the streets, barricades blossom like weeds, and citizens learn that challenging a fossilized presidency requires courage, stamina, and a strong breakfast. The 43-year rule is neither governance nor nostalgia. It is endurance performed as ritual, applauded politely, and resisted defiantly. Together, these stories are less about power than the illusion of it. Authority that refuses to leave leaves behind chaos as its souvenir. Youth who refuse to kneel leave behind hope as their weapon. Second Take closes the curtain on smoldering streets and tired palaces, reminding the continent that leadership is a contract, not a coffin. If the rulers won't retire, the people will write history in smoke, barricades, and laughter, and no amount of gas can clear that. Good night.